I want to start this review by making it clear to everyone watching that yes, I am a fan of Warcraft. I've played World of Warcraft for years. I played Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2. I haven't played Warcraft 1, but I think that game is older than me, so I think it's excusable. I have also read a couple of the books, and I enjoyed reading them. So yes, I'm a fan of Warcraft, and you could say that would make this review biased. I don't think so, because a lot of people who's going to watch this movie are fans of Warcraft. I also want to give a big fuck you to a lot of the critics and professional reviewers who made reviews for this movie, because they just shit on this movie completely. And in one specific case, Jason Schreier on Kotaku, I read his article. I'm going to reference that article a couple of times in this video, because that article was just full of stupid shit that was just clear that he didn't understand the movie he was watching. But if you're just looking for a quick yes/no, is the movie good or not, it's good. The movie, yeah, it's good. Like, you will not regret watching this. Now, this movie is made more for Warcraft fans than not. So if you're a fan of Warcraft, you will see moments where you're like, oh yeah, I know that. Like, they're riding through a forest, and in the background you see like a mossy, overgrown summoning stone. Just seeing that, it made me giddy. I was just like, it's a summoning stone. Like, you see the environments, you see everything you recognize from the game. Like, they show an establishing shot of Ironforge, and they have this little text in the corner showing Ironforge. They didn't even need to put it there, because, well, of course they put it there for the people who don't know this, but, I mean, for people like me, that was Ironforge. That looked exactly like Ironforge. It made me so happy. Or, Grommash Hellscream is in this movie. He doesn't have a single line. Nobody mentions him by name, but it's Grommash Hellscream. Like, a Warcraft fan will be able to point him up amongst a huge group of orcs. You just see him there. Because you recognize the armor, you recognize the ponytail, and he has Gorehowl, and it's so clearly Gorehowl. Like, no questions. That's Gorehowl. That made me so happy. So yes, if you're a Warcraft fan, you will enjoy this. If you're not a Warcraft fan, if you're indifferent to the franchise, that was where I'm looking for, franchise, then you might enjoy this movie. It's not so clear. You might do it, because it's still a solid movie. But if you don't like Warcraft, then it's likely you won't enjoy it. Like, this probably won't win you over if you have an active dislike for the franchise. But the story is, it's the story of the first Warcraft game, and if you don't know that, then, to summarize, the orc homeworld of Draenor is dying, because after a war with the race called the Draenei, the orcs pretty much destroyed the entire planet, and part of that was with the use of fel magic, which is a very dangerous type of magic that corrupts and kills everything it touches, which includes your enemies, which is good, but it also includes you and the environment around you, which is bad. So they destroyed the entire planet. It's now pretty much uninhabitable. But one of the orcs, Gul'dan, creates this huge portal that he opens up to another planet where they go in so they can invade that and take that as their homeworld instead. And that's where the movie picks up, like, when this happens. So, I just lost my train of thought. But that's the story. Like, the orcs invade the human lands. And the humans try to defend themselves, because, first of all, they have no idea what the fuck they're fighting against. And the movie focuses mostly on Durotan, one of the orcs. Who's the leader of the Frostwolf clan. And Anwin Lothar, who leads the human armies. And Khadgar, a mage. And if you play the games, you know all these characters. Like, maybe not Anwin Lothar, but you have probably heard his name, partly because the Prince of Stormwind is named after him. You recognize Durotan, because the orcish homeland in World of Warcraft is called Durotar, named after him. Now, there were some differences between the story from the game and the movie, but most of them were minor. Like, stuff I don't really care about. It doesn't really affect the story. Like, for one, that's not a spoiler, Orgrim Doomhammer is in this movie a part of the Frostwolf clan. In Warcraft, in the game, he's in a Blackrock clan. But that doesn't really impact the story. So, it's fine. Now, there were some bigger differences. Stuff that I won't go into because of spoilers, of course. Some stuff that I kind of liked. Some stuff that I didn't like. And again, this isn't just a movie representation of the game. I understand that. But I think the movie would have been better if it followed those storylines. There's one big thing that I want to talk about, but I can't because people would freak the fuck out if I talked about that. But how I wanted the movie to end, essentially. And it didn't deliver on that. But I might make a separate video where I talk about that at some point. Talk about like the differences between the story and what I thought and if I liked or didn't like it. Now the visual effects. Visual effects is of course a huge part of this, and it's a bit cartoony, but you could defend that by saying that Warcraft is a bit cartoony. I mean, shit, like, look at the human armors. They're huge and bulky and really exaggerated, but they look like that in the game. It kind of works. But I like how the orcs look, because, sure, you could argue that you could do that with, what's it called? Not special effects. Practical effects. You could argue that you could have done it with practical effects. But I don't think they would be able to make the orcs look like that with practical effects, because the orcs in Warcraft are big. And you can tell in this game, in this movie, that they are big. And, special effects, they're not bad. Like, especially not when they're fighting, you can really see that the orcs have some weight behind them. Like, when they punch each other, when they punch a human, you can really see the difference in strength. That looked good. There's also dwarves in this movie for a couple of scenes, and, again, they also look a bit cartoony. I have to say, though, the elves look like shit. The elves were only in there for 2 scenes, but they looked bad. Like, you could tell they did not put much attention to detail into the elves. But, visually, it looked good. And as I said earlier, like, in environments, you will recognize them from the game. Like, Stormwind. You see, like, establishing shot of Stormwind, and like, yeah, that's Stormwind, I recognize that. Like, Ironforge, you recognize. Dalaran, of course, Dalaran in the movie is floating in the sky. It's not supposed to do that yet, by that time. It doesn't do that until later. But again, like, that's another one of the differences, that it doesn't impact the story that much. And Dalaran looks so fucking cool that I'm okay with it. Now, the acting, I think we're going to focus more on the human act, because it's hard to talk about the acting of the orcs, because it's so much CGI. But the humans, like Anwin Lothar, he did a good job. Travis Fimmel is called, the dude from Vikings. He does a good job. Like, I liked seeing him as Anwin Lothar. He portrayed the character good. The guy who did, I can't remember his name. I should probably, don't mind me. Warcraft. Yes. He's called Ben Schnetzer, who did Khadgar. Did a great job. Now, the asshole on Kotaku who wrote the article, he complained that Khadgar isn't as impressive as he is in the game. Never mind the fact that this movie takes place roughly 35 years earlier than World of Warcraft. So, and by that time in the games, Khadgar is an archmage, and at this point he's a novice. He's a fucking apprentice. So of course he's not as powerful, you stupid shithead. But he did a good job as Khadgar. He's how I imagine Khadgar as a young person. And I also have to say, like, the effects when they cast magic looked super good. And I also like the differences in skill level. If you look at Khadgar and Medivh, who I'll get to, like, when Khadgar does, like, a teleport spell, he takes a piece of charcoal and he starts carving runes into the ground to make a circle and fix the spell. When Medivh does it, he just spins in a circle with the staff, like, draws the circle, and bam, done. You could tell, like, that guy is more powerful and more experienced than Khadgar, who's like a novice, who carves the runes out by hand. Ben Foster did Medivh, and he did a good job. Like, he is as Medivh should be portrayed. He's very powerful, clearly, and very mysterious, and he keeps to himself. He doesn't really like other people, clear, and yeah, he works. The one person, though, I have to complain about is Dominic Cooper's Lane Rin. If anything, I mean, I'm not gonna say outright that he's like an awful actor, but his acting was a bit stale, a bit wooden. And in contrast to a lot of the other actors in this, he's the actor I like the least, if I put it that way. Garona as well. I mean, Garona doesn't have as much CGI. I think she's more practical effects. But Paula Patton did a good job. Like, she did a good job portraying Garona. You can really tell that she's conflicted, that she is in some ways an orc, but at the same time she's not. That's fine. Though, one thing I really enjoyed, the music. My god, the music. Because the music was very Warcraft inspired. Like, they clearly used the video game music as an inspiration for this. Like the orc theme music is, I think it's based on like the orc theme music of Warcraft 2. It's inspired from that, and just hearing that, it was like, yeah, okay, I recognize this. Like the establishing shot of Stormwind music. They were only Dalaran for like a short moment, and I barely had time to react, but I think they had like Dalaran inspired music when they showed Dalaran, but I could be wrong about that. I don't remember, honestly. There was so much in this movie. But, this movie, it does have its flaws. Like right now, I'm sitting here gushing about the movie, but it does have its flaws. For example, both the humans and the orcs speak English. And they show that they speak different languages by when they're focusing on the orcs, then the human language is just gibbering nonsense, and when they're focusing on the humans and they speak English, then the orc language becomes just orcish. Now, of course, no, human common in the games is not technically English, so maybe you could say that giving them English would be unfair. But I would have loved it if the orcs throughout the movie just spoke orcish and the humans spoke English. Now, of course, Americans would flip their shit if they did that. I mean, I saw how a lot of Americans reacted after Planet of the Apes, the new ones, like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where they come like, oh, so much of this movie was subtitles. Like, so what? Like, who cares? So yeah, I can understand that they didn't go with subtitles, but I would have enjoyed that more, I have to say that. And as I said, there's also something with the stories that if it kept to the game a bit more, the story could have been better. But this movie is still very much a good movie. So, as a grade, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. And an 8 out of 10 is not bad. I want to make sure people understand that. I mean, to a lot of people, the 1 to 10 grading scale stops at 5, and anything below like 8 is bad. But no, 8 is still good. It's not a 9. Like, it's not Captain America Civil War, which I really enjoyed. It's not a 9. An 8 is still good. And an 8 is exactly what I hoped for, because if this movie gets a sequel, like if it gets successful and it gets a sequel, then we could have a cinema universe that could rival Marvel. Warcraft has millennia of stories to tell, all the way back to the creation of the universe with the Titans, up to Legion, which is coming out this summer, and I'm excited for it. Like, there's so many stories to tell in between. There's several thousands of years of story, and I want to see that represented on the screen. It would be awesome. So I just want this movie to be successful. So if you're watching this after you've seen the movie, please, I beg of you, spread good word of mouth of this movie, because reviews are awful, and studies have shown that word of mouth will beat reviews at all times. So spread good word of mouth. Make sure people see this. Make this movie a success, so we can have this epic fucking cinema universe. So yeah, the movie is an 8 out of 10. It's definitely recommended, especially if you're a Warcraft fan. But if you have seen it, what do you think about it? Comment below, let me know. I just ripped off Jeremy Jahns. And yeah, until next time, I'm the Nerdy Guy, and see ya.